Did we lose him?
No, we didn't lose them. For some reason, I think we got to unmute now.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. You got
Hey, man.
Oh, you got the little man with you.
Hey, Ronnie.
What's up, man?
So, hey, Ian.
Hey, man, how you doing?
Hey.
Thank you. Thank you for the time, family. We appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Yeah, we're just going to grab in.
Yeah, tell the wifey thank you.
Yes, sir. But yeah, basically, 4 years ago, I was just painting cars, and I was a mechanic, doing my own thing. Had some falling out with my boss at the time, and decided I was going to jump into real estate full time. And I really did not know anything about it. Didn't know what I was going to be doing or how I was going to do it. I just knew that I had a couple buddies doing real estate at the time, and they were making a fortune, and I wanted a piece of that action. So with like less than $2,000 in my bank account, I kind of started going to like seminars and meetups and real estate events around Atlanta, and just trying to indulge myself in as much information as I possibly could and soak it up like a sponge. And 4 months later, I did my first deal. I made $3,700 on my first deal, and then from that point, I was hooked. So after that first deal, I just started going full-time with it, really driving for dollars every single day, making phone calls, posting on Facebook, Instagram, Craigslist, all that good stuff. And as I started getting, more and more known and doing more and more deals, I just started realizing the potential that was there, and started expanding my knowledge into, pre-foreclosures, and started doing fix and flips and everything else I could think of to make more and more money. And 2 years into it, I met Jacques, and we kind of partnered up, did a few deals together. It went really, really well, and the rest is kind of history.
Why'd you guys decide to partner up with each other?
Jacques, you want to take that one?
Yeah, no, I remember that. I think I had reached out to Justin as originally, because he's like a cash buyer at the time, and I was just getting started, and I was like, oh, this guy's kind of local. So we had exchange information, but there's this one time where we just hadn't met up, and then I saw that he saw that I was kind of organized, and I knew a lot like systems and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I saw that he had a lot of leads. So I was like, you know what? I know how to market to those leads. And so I did a marketing campaign, and then we did like a $12,000 deal off that one campaign. So then we're like, okay, cool. So we know how to make money together as well too. And then we did another deal, and then I started a fix and flip at the time, which I did all the work myself on that one. So I couldn't, I was just away from real estate. So we had kind of went our separate ways. And then back around November, he had moved about 5 minutes away from my house. So he's like, come on over. And then, so we started hustling again. Then once we started hustling, picking it back up, we started making more money again, and then more money. And then it was like, you know what? We know how to make money well around each other. So it was just like, you know what? Let's just go ahead and just start this.
Yeah, man. Jacques is like the opposite of me in a lot of ways. So we kind of feed off each other's energy. He kind of picks up slack in areas that I'm not so good with, and I pick up the slack in the other areas where he's not so good with. And together, with our combined knowledge and experience, we just work really, really well together, and we end up making a lot of money. And we don't always see eye to eye, but it's working out a lot better because we're able to, really look at all aspects of every deal and every situation. And I'll be like, hey, that I don't like this, and he's like, hey, well, I don't like that, and together we find a solution that makes sense, and it ends up working out really, really well most of the time. But yeah, we definitely don't see eye to eye every day, but that works out really good, I think, for us, and I think it makes a really, really balanced relationship as far as being business partners. You got to have someone that kind of is the opposite of you, so you can feed off each other's weaknesses and strengths. So with that being said, I mean, we kind of started off back in January. We started really focusing on doing more subject twos. Okay. That was before Corona hit. But during January, how many deals do we have in January, Jacques? 4 or 5 subject two deals in January? January was a good month for subject twos. And then February, I think we did 2 or 3. And then Corona kind of started getting more heavy, and we stopped kind of marketing to pre-foreclosures and we stopped really doing subject twos for a little while. But guys, this is like the best opportune time to get into this because y'all already know there's going to be a crap load of foreclosures coming up. Okay? Y'all need to learn how to do subject twos because if you don't know how to do subject twos, you're going to be missing out on a lot of deals. I can already tell you. This month coming up, we're gonna start hitting pre-foreclosures hard again. We're gonna start really focusing on subject twos and working those leads again. But I guarantee if y'all can get ahead of this curve, if investors can really use subject two and put it in their pocket, come October, November, stuff like that, man, we're gonna have a ton of foreclosures that we can really take advantage of those situations and make some money while helping the homeowners. So I really encourage everybody to be on here on Saturday. Really get into this and learn, the ins and outs of how to do creative financing and subject twos because there's definitely going to be opportunities coming up soon. And I know Will and Tim, I already know y'all going to be preparing for it, getting it.
That's right. One thing, real quick, and we just want to say thank you to your family. Thank you to your family for giving us time to be with you tonight. Because we understand, with me and Will, I mean, that's the most important thing to us. And one thing is I got to kind of peruse your Facebook a little bit, my friend. I noticed that you are family oriented, man. And that really, really means a lot to us. We understand that although, like me and Will are partners, we understand we have another partner that's sitting over to the side. So.
Absolutely. And it's definitely hard to find that balance. I know y'all can relate to that. I mean, you're always working and then you come home and, it's not always easy to balance that life, but I mean, we try to do as much as possible. And I've definitely in recent months have been, more focused on trying to spend more time with my family, especially on the weekends, which Jacques been feeling that pain because he's been taking up my slack on that end of the spectrum. But, he'll get there as well. He's still young. He's 21.
He'll be there one day. But on the other end, I also want to say, and this is good because the other thing I also want to say is with Jacques. I mean, I noticed that you're a very young man. How old are you? If you don't mind my asking.
I'm 21. Yeah, I'm 21. I got into the business when I was 19.
He's a hustler. He's a hustler.
Yeah, man. And one thing that that's a blessing is that with us, I mean, we're a little bit more seasoned in what we do, but with your energy is the thing that just really is gonna catapult this business and it's a good thing to see. We see you guys as an example to a lot of our partners, man. We've got partners as young as 21, and then we've got partners that that have families. So this is the thing that we want our partners to be able to see is that you can come from any walk of life, really, and take advantage of this opportunity. Like we said before, this is the absolute best time to get in this business. Specifically, if you have the mindset to do it, with everything that's going on in corporate America, with so much disarray and people losing their jobs and things of that nature, this is the time to go ahead and listen. If you've lost your job, why not start a business? Why not, work on something that's going to enrich you, and you may not have to go back to a job. So we're grateful, to be able to see you guys, as an example, for what this thing can be.
Absolutely. I'm 31 years old, and I could only, imagine where my life would be like if I would have started at 19 or 20 like Jacques did. I mean,
yeah,
he's definitely
I know, right?
If I would have known what I know now at 19, I'd already be a millionaire. So I can already imagine, all these younger guys and stuff that, 19, 20, 21 years old that are, going to be millionaires before they're 30. And I'm like, man, y'all guys, y'all are going to make something of yourself in real life. And it's going to be a lot quicker. And while everybody else is, trying to figure out how they're going to retire, we're going to be retired way sooner. I mean, I'm very happy that, I got started, when I did, but I wish I could have gotten started, 5 years sooner or 10 years sooner. And, that's why it's really cool seeing guys like Jacques and some of these other guys where they're starting off at 19, 20 years old. And you already know, they're going to make some real money in their lifetime,
Hey, Justin, let me ask you a quick question. You said that you had a disagreement with your boss is what kind of led you into this thing. How, like what made you say that, you know, I've got my mindset to go ahead and make this thing happen? Because a lot of people can be mad with their boss and, you know, just not do anything about it, but you did something about it. What led to that?
Honestly, I got fired.
Okay, me too.
but, but I mean, it started. I mean, I'd quit a couple times, like just kind of like playing around. Like, you know, we'd had disagreements a couple times before, and I was making. I thought at the time I was making pretty good money. I was making $23 an hour painting
Okay.
cars, and I managed the shop, and you know, we was always working on stuff, and it was kind of a dream job to me at the time because I love cars and I'm very motorsports oriented. So I mean,
Yeah.
it was a cool job for me, and everybody in the motorsports and car industry around Atlanta, they pretty much knew who I was and would come in all the time, you know, to talk to me.
Okay.
So I mean, I was, you know, even in the car industry, I was pretty well known. So I enjoyed what I did, but you know, my boss, he didn't see eye to eye on the same things I did, and we had a lot of disagreements all the time about how I was running things because I managed the shop for him. And
Right.
we would get into little spits and spats all the time, and it wasn't a big deal. We would always bounce back from it. But then, you know, we started co-leasing a building with another mechanic shop,
Okay.
and they became friends. And they started kind of like tag teaming on me, and you know, really stirring me the wrong way. So, you know, one day we had a big fight, and I quit. And then, you know, like a week later, I came back to work, and it was like nothing changed. And so we just kept working, and it wasn't no big deal. Well, then a couple months later, he fired me. And so I left for a few weeks, and then a couple weeks later, he brought me back in. I started back working again. And then a couple months go by, and I was like, man, I'm not really digging this no more. I want to do something else. So I
Okay.
started looking into real estate. And then after I got that first deal, dude, I started consuming all my time into real estate. And he'd notice too, because he'd like come in and he'd be like, Justin, what are you doing? I'm like, hey man, I gotta go print off this contract real quick. I gotta send a contract for real estate. And he's like, man, what the hell are you doing? You're supposed to be working. And then a couple months go by, and he fired me again. And then that time I was just like,
Hit you
thank
again.
you. You know, like, thank you. I'm just gonna do real
Man.
estate
You
full
said
time.
thank you.
You know, so it was really that movement of him. He basically forced me to level myself up because he fired me, and I was like, man, fuck it, I'm not going back to work for him again. I've got to make this work, and I
Oh,
did. So it was
wow.
good.
What led, like when he was well, how much did you make on that first check if you get back to that?
That first deal I made, that first wholesale deal I made $3,700, and that was
So
about what I made in a month.
I was just about to ask you that. So it takes a whole month to make $3,700, and nothing against that, but with that $3,700 that you made on one deal, you know, it takes you a whole month to work. Whereas with that one deal, you could be spending time with your family, doing the things that you love doing, and you know, it's really a no-brainer if you have enough confidence in yourself.
That's right. And it sucks because I mean, so many people don't understand the struggle it is in real estate, and you
Right.
do spend a lot of time working. But the difference between having a 9 to 5 versus doing what we do is the time freedom to do it on our schedule.
Right.
You know, if our kids have a baseball game, we can go to that baseball game. If the kids have an open house at school, we can make it. You know, or if we want to take a day off and go do something, we're not obligated to do so because we have a boss telling us we're going to get fired if we don't show up.
Right.
That's the difference. Is we can make our own schedule around a more flexible way for us to, you know, do what we want to do and how we want to do it.
Did you and Mrs. Shipp, did you guys have an issue while you were going through that process of transition?
You want to talk about that one, Ben? Yeah, we were definitely on rocky edges when I first got into real estate. She didn't really see what I saw.
Okay.
I was scared.
She was scared.
This is good. Yeah.
Like when I first started, I mean, we weren't getting a paycheck every week. You know,
Right.
I was used to it. Yeah, she was working 2 jobs at the time too.
Okay.
Because
Supporting you.
we didn't know when I was gonna get that next paycheck.
Right.
So,
Right.
When I first started, you know, we was used to making $950 a week every single week, no
Okay.
matter what. And then all of a sudden, I didn't get a paycheck for like a month and a half, 2 months, and she's like freaking out over here, like, "Hey, how are we gonna pay these bills?"
And she should have been. Right.
At the beginning, it was tough because I think we was like 4 months behind on our mortgage when I first started in the real estate because I didn't have a paycheck for like 2 months.
Wow.
But then I was just like spending every dime I had in the marketing and lead generation and like trying to get that next deal and driving. And it got nerve wracking for a minute. But then that second deal came, and then that third deal came, and fourth deal came, and then I started stacking money. And then all of a sudden I went from being behind on my bills to being ahead. And within like 6-7 months, then I had like 10 grand stacked in my bank account, which I hadn't had in years. So I was like, wow, okay. Well, not only are we ahead, but I got 10 grand sitting in the bank account, and that was a nice feeling. And it just kept growing from that point to where now, we live very comfortable. We don't really have no debt, and I'm still making money. So it's nice.
Wow. I just want to thank Mrs. Shipp for sticking with you because and supporting you during that time.
It was definitely a process that took a minute to get going, but once it took off, it really took off. But I'm about to get off here. I'm about to go inside and eat some dinner.
Y'all eat, man.
John, take over. Tell them about what we're going to be teaching them on Saturday with Subject 2s and how we can help people get going on that.
All right. Hey, before we do that, and brother, hey man, I appreciate you, man. You guys enjoy your food. I got some questions for Jacques West.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having us on.
Appreciate it,
Jack.
Thanks, Jack.
Jacques. So Jacques, man, listen, man. So here's the other end of the spectrum, bro. You're 21 years old, right? Did you finish college? Did you go to college? Like what's that about?
So, to be honest with you, one of the things that drives me, and I mean just drives me like crazy, is the fact that, like in high school, I was actually pretty smart. I'm not gonna lie, I was actually I'll say I was kind of smart. All AP classes, like top 10% of my class. And so pretty much like everybody else that around me, they went to these prestigious colleges. I mean, Georgia Tech, UGA, Harvard, Yale, right? And I went to college for 3 days before I dropped out because I wasn't eligible. I was eligible for Zell Miller, but I couldn't get it because of something that happened with my parents.
Right.
And so I went to college, and then I figured out I couldn't afford it on my own because I was just working a server job, and I was just only making I was working at a server job in Home Depot, and I didn't have enough money to make my car payments in like school.
You said you were waiting tables? You said you were waiting tables?
Yeah, I was waiting tables and working at Home Depot.
Okay.
I took a year off so I could save up to go to college, and then that didn't go to plan. And then because I had learned about real estate just a little bit, and then my mind kept on going back to real estate, and I feel like I could have been great in real estate. And so I only went for 3 days, and keep in mind, I always kept in mind that all my classmates, they went to all these prestigious schools.
Right.
And so I'm like they're about to go on and be great. So I was like, I can't be mediocre in this life, which is that's one of the driving forces is the fact that I know I can't be mediocre in this life. So granted, I didn't go to school, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to do something like good with my life. So that's literally why I was like, you know what, I'm just going to form, like my goal is to form the largest real estate company in the nation. Like that's kind of one of my goals. I'll be honest with you. And so, but I only went to college for 3 days, man.
3 days in college. So I'm painting a picture, man, because I can kind of resonate with you. What was it like, man, while you're working a job and you've got classmates probably coming in, you're waiting tables with, to them, or they're coming into Home Depot and they're seeing you, and what was that whole process like?
It wasn't. I'll be honest. That process, I always feel like I always had something bigger in life, and so it didn't really intimidate me. The only time that I really got intimidated and something that kind of pushed me as well too was the fact that the girl I was with at the time, very serious girlfriend at the time, and her family was very affluent, and they built their wealth in real estate. And I mean they had a net worth in 9 digits in real estate. And so being around that, you're like, I'm like, here's this, like, I'm broke boy over here, and I mean, I'm driving a beat up '98 Corolla coming up to her. It's like Jesus Christ, and so and that's when I kind of learned about wholesaling, and so I had given like all my free time, like I worked because I was working, like I said, I was working 2 jobs, and I was working about 40, 50 hours a week. So all my free time went to wholesaling. Even while I was at work at Home Depot, I worked night shifts.
So you
and
took,
so we were
so
all,
you had time to actually work on your dream while you were working these 2 part-time jobs?
yeah, I had time. I had time. And because I organized it, I took the night shift on purpose. I took the overnight shift on purpose.
Uh-huh.
So I could focus, I could do real estate during the day. I worked full time at night, and then there's a couple of days throughout the week where I would work during the day as well too at my other job. But the days I had off, I was driving for dollars. When I was at Home Depot, all I would be listening to is Bigger Pockets, Sean Terry, or I'll be on the phone with my mentor. That's all I did. And
Who did you say
my
was your
managers.
mentor? Who?
My mentor was his a guy named Brandon Jones out of Memphis.
Okay.
So we would he's really the one that really got me into it. But man, I had my managers getting mad at me at Home Depot, man, because they're like, he's always listening to his music, I'm like, I'm not listening to music. I'm like, and I tell him like, hey, or I'll be on the phone. Like there are times where I'll be on the phone with sellers at work. Like, and I'll be moving, like, so I did freight. So I had to take the boxes off the truck. So I'll be moving the boxes off the truck on the phone with the sellers, man. And they're like, literally.
This is, really, Jacques, this is the definition of really, really wanting it. This is the definition of like really seeing what you want and really focusing on what you want, no matter what the obstacles are. And that's what I'm saying, man. Like I know, even though you were on those jobs, you were just doing those jobs to kind of fuel whatever it is your passion was, which is real estate, which you decided was real estate. And it's just an amazing thing to see, man. To have that kind of focus. I mean, you said that you were loading boxes and doing whatever, still talking to sellers. Excuse me.
Buyers and sellers. I was talking to them on the phone. I was texting and everything, man. I got written up so many times, but I knew I didn't care because I knew it was temporary. I was like, I'm only gonna be at this job temporarily. And so when I had enough money from wholesaling to where I was like, you know what? I've literally made 4 times what I'm making a month over here. I was like, I'm gone. Catch you later.
So you closed your first deal while you were working there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did. I closed my first deal while I was working both jobs.
Wow, amazing.
How long did it take you to close your first one?
So from beginning to end, like from driving to dollars and like actively marketing the sellers, it took me, and I always remember the lady's name. Well, I don't remember the lady's name, but I always remember how it happened. I called, from driving for dollars. It was the beginning of October. I started making calls 2 weeks after I had my list. I called the lady like 4 times. She picked up on the 5th time. She told me no, she was not interested in selling. Called me back a week later, around the end of October. Hey, you gave me a call and you called me like 5 times. I just had a tenant move out. I might be interested in selling. Come meet me, right? And then put it under contract and then had it sold by 3 weeks after. So November 21st, 2019 was when I got my first check in real estate.
Wow.
And I had that ingrained in my head as well too.
So you called her 5 times?
Yeah, I called her 5 times. Yeah, I knew it. I'll be honest. So just like like any advice to anybody as well too. So I had sold cars when I was 18. I worked at a large dealership, and I was actually really good. The only reason why I didn't go back to selling cars when I was working at Home Depot was because of the fact that we were working 80 hours a week, and I knew and I knew there was always something better for me than 80 hours a week at the dealership. Granted, I was making really good money for 18. I mean, really good money for 18-year-olds. But it just wasn't what I rather had sacrificed that pay and build something for myself, which paid off, right? But I had learned through the dealership, because it's the sales, that follow-up money is in the follow-up.
Yeah.
And so I knew with this lady, I was like, she didn't pick up the first 3 times, but I heard a voicemail. I heard a voice, so I know this is her phone number. So I'm gonna call her until she picks up. So she tells me no.
So did you leave messages?
Yeah, I did leave messages. I even timed it, right? Because I figured I called her. I kept on calling during the week, and I was like, man, she's not picking up. So I decided to call her on the weekend, and then that's when she picked up. So I was like, okay, so she works a 9 to 5. And so that's why I started to get ingrained in my head that some sellers work a 9 to 5, so they're not going to pick up during the week. So there's weekends that they pick up.
Right.
And so that's, even in our business, I tell myself, like, that's been ingrained with me to, like, I tell my sales guys now that, hey, it's 5 to 6, you have to have 5 to 6 points of contacts with the seller before you convert on a deal. Don't expect to get on that first call.
That's right.
And I think that's where some people get discouraged at that first call.
Well, you know, one thing I noticed is that people get discouraged on the first call because they expect to make contact on the first call. But what you're saying is, listen, don't expect to make contact on that first call. Just expect that it's going to take you a couple of times to make contact with that seller. And once that happens, you know, after a few times, 5 or 6 times, I noticed sometimes it's up to 7 times that that before you're going to actually make contact. So that's good stuff, man. What did you take from your jobs, man? Like, what did you learn from your jobs that you now apply?
The greatest things I learned, I would say the job that really kind of molded me was my sales job, the sales, the commission cars, because when I was working those 80 hours, man, I had not worked. I mean, I've always worked 80 hours at a variety of jobs since I was 16, to be honest. And the one thing that I always took away was that, 1, money's in the follow-up. 2, sales is universal. You're always trying to sell yourself, and that's just a life rule as well too. And then, so once I learned to treat wholesaling like a sales business, like I tell my guys we're in the sales and marketing business, and the product we sell is real estate contracts. And I noticed once we run it like that, man, our numbers have gone through the roof, because we look at it from a different standpoint of it's not just real estate to us. It's sales and marketing. And so I'll say that's the biggest takeaway, really, was just that money's really in the follow-up, and that just treat it like sales is universal in life, and treat everything like it's just sales. Always be selling yourself. Man, I'm excited, man. Just from your story, man, you and Just's story, man, that gets us pumped, man. I mean, I know you guys are gonna be teaching us here on Saturday, man, but just to hear you guys and how you guys have had to persevere. You guys are regular people, you know, like a lot of us, you know, y'all are regular people, but you just happen to put in a little bit more work, a little bit more time, and it's what's gotten you to where you are. Question. So we're going to be talking Saturday. Can you share, and not, you know, we're not teaching tonight, but can you share what we're going to be talking about on Saturday and what we're going to learn and how it applies to wholesaling? Okay. So one thing I really do want to touch on Saturday is, like we said, creative finance. Yes, sir. And just specializing more on the subject to side, pitching subject twos, structuring subject twos, making sure all your ducks in a row. Also just making sure that you're covered, and then just also just going over ethics when it comes to those as well too. That's what I really want to touch. Okay. Yeah. That's gonna be pretty heavy, man. That's gonna be pretty heavy. Yeah. No, there's a lot of people. But it's just like how we talk about, like, people talk about the regulation that are passed in certain states because people are performing unethically yes, as well too, right? And you know, realtors are held to a higher degree, because at the end of the day, I always tell people, I was like, hey, you're dealing with 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, $600,000 transactions, right? Right. Why should there not? Why you're in a serious, very, very serious business, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, like carry yourself accordingly and make sure you carry yourself accordingly. And you're messing with people's lives because the average homeowner only sells their house maybe once or twice in a lifetime, right?
Mhm.
And so you always have to keep that in mind. What is it like for the other person on the other side when they're trusting you and trusting you with this responsibility of, let's just say, paying their mortgage,
Right.
right? And
Right.
so that's where I'm big. I'm big on ethics. I'm really, really big when it comes to that stuff.
Now,
And my partners are as well too.
Are you licensed? Are you licensed?
No, I'm not. So we actually have a third business partner as well too. And so he is a licensed broker. He is a licensed broker in the state of Georgia.
Okay.
And so we go over ethics all the time. We go over ethics all the time.
I know you do.
Yeah.
I know you do, man. Well, you know, this is the thing. Like even if you don't have a license, you know, and I know agents are held to a higher standard, definitely. But even if you don't have a license, then you still need to hold yourself to, you know, high ethical standards when it comes to, you know, doing what you say you're gonna do. You know, if you say you're gonna make payments, then you need to go ahead and make payments. That needs to be your first priority. And, you know, just make it happen, because these people are actually putting their lives inside of your hands. And I can't wait for us to be able to hear this. How does this relate to wholesale real estate? Can you wholesale a subject to deal?
Yes, you can wholesale and you can assign a subject to deal. I've done it before. Justin's done it before. You can 100%, as long as it's worded in your contract that you can assign it, then you're eligible to assign it. And there are good attorneys to do that. We all know Eugene, Talker and Shocker, Steven in Atlanta, Nancy Wazdean. I haven't used her personally, but I hear good things about her as well too. And who else? We use another attorney, Tony with Caraway Law. I haven't.
Hey, bro, you don't have to give me any names right now. You good?
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to give any names right now. Because listen, you know, like when our partners, when they call, they're gonna call with some value. And you know, if they call an attorney, they're gonna call adding value. So don't have to give any names right now of any attorneys, but we definitely know there's some attorneys in the city that perform these transactions and do it in an ethical way. So yeah, man, we certainly appreciate that, man. Will, you got any questions you want to ask?
I mean, I guess because you've only been in the business a little over a year, close to a year.
Yeah, about right there.
That's amazing.
So a lot of people, you know, that's listening, they actually maybe haven't got started and thinking about it, or maybe they've got started and maybe just haven't, you know, bridged that gap yet and haven't closed the first deal. What would you say to those people who actually just getting started? Like, what are some of the things they need to be kind of focusing on right now?
So definitely when it comes, I would just say focus on more of a mindset, focus on getting your sales, I want to like your people skills up. Very, some people I've noticed that they have the inability to talk to people as well too. Because I used to do consultations with training people on how to talk to people and talk to sellers. And I noticed after a phone call with me, they will go and start. I mean, these people, they're still getting appointments and deals locked up left and right. And so focus on, there's a lot of things that you can do with that as well too. Jordan Belfort, The Way of the Wolf, he has a book about phone sales, right? Because you're doing a lot of this business going to be over the phone as well too. And his book is very, very intense on phone sales. That's really, really good. Tony Robbins, he has a seminar about building rapport. Okay. Learn what the word rapport means, right? Learn how to build it over the phone. Learn how to build it in person as well too. I'm very big on sales training. I'm very if you guys did a seminar on sales training, man, I could talk all day about that. I could talk all day about that. And so, and also,
have you took John Martinez sales training?
Oh yeah, man, John Martinez, yeah. John Martinez, Chris Voss, man, I paid for all of them, study all their stuff as well too, man. Steve Trank, everybody, man. I love it. I love sales, honestly. And you put me on the phone with the seller, man. If they're motivated to sell and I'm on the phone with them, I'm gonna get it. I just know I'm gonna get it.
So you know what I'm getting from you is this key skill that you need to have is learning how to build a relationship with someone over the phone.
Yes, 100%. Learning how to build that relationship, man. And I'll be honest, because my first flip was a subject to flip, right?
Okay.
And if I tell you about the relationship I built with the seller, I mean, at the end of the transaction, she was like, you know what? I love you like a son. I was like, if I was gonna go through this again, like, I mean, when I tell you the relationship I built with her, like, she was saying that, she was like, I will never want to sell my house to anybody but you. When we had other sellers who, I mean, there was a $500,000 house that I wholesaled. And I had the seller call her, man, when I tell you, like, when you build that relationship with the sellers, man, she talked me up. She was like, man, if I could do it all over again, I'll do it again with him. Listen, like, this guy is like, so learning how to build a relationship over the phone, man, it's essential. And it's definitely the key. It's definitely 100% the key. And focus on, and then also learn to put people's problems first as well, too. Put people's problems first. The bigger the problem that you solve, the more money you make.
Talk about that the most, please. Talk about that the most.
Yeah, we are. No. So yeah, exactly. We're in the problem solving business. Where people have problems, that's why they're motivated, right? So if you can solve their problem, they're going to work with you. When they understand, there have been sellers that have said, like, listen, it's not about the money. It's about this problem that I have, right?
Right.
And so when they understand, when people understand that you're coming from a place of, hey, I genuinely want to help you, and I want to work with you, and I want to, it's not me against you, it's us against this problem, and you structure it like that with the seller, yo, they're like, you know what? I'm not doing business with anybody else but this guy. That's it. I don't even care. Like, this is a done deal. And I mean, we've had sellers who, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I had somebody else call another seller that we were working with just to see something. And this guy is a dog on the phone, man. He's cold on the phone. She wouldn't budge. She would not budge. She's like, I'm already working with somebody. Sorry. Like, he didn't even want to hear his offer.
John, I have never heard that before. You said it is us against the problem. It's not me against you. It's us against the problem. Wow.
Exactly.
Wow, it's huge.
That, especially when it comes to pre-foreclosures, honestly, and that's, if you see our text marketing and just how we cold call pre-foreclosures, that's, our script is based around that as well too. Okay. And so we've had people just saying, like, and I mean, because pre-foreclosures get preyed on, right?
Yeah, they
do. So, exactly. And we've had them say, like, hey, like, I've had so many people call me, but at the end of the day, I've never had a conversation like I've had with you, right? Or the approach that you guys use, that was completely genuine. When you come see my house. Like, once pre-foreclosures open back up, man, our marketing to pre-foreclosures is top dog, like, honestly. Because it's like, we don't position it to where it's predatory. We don't position to predatory. Like, and we come to them like, hey, like, it's not us against you. It's literally us against the bank. That's literally the bank is our enemy right now. So I'm working with you on that. Yeah. And it's not even like, if we don't buy the house, we don't buy the house. Yeah, exactly, right? If we don't buy the house, we don't buy the house. If we get you through a loan modification or through a bankruptcy attorney, then, I mean, listen, we present options.
Right.
We don't present just one option. We present multiple options because we want them to know, like, hey, like, we're interested in helping you, right? But we're going to go over which option and which one makes the most sense. If it makes more sense for you to sell the house, get the equity, and we help you, I mean, we help homeowners get their stuff moved.
Right. Right.
Like, Justin has that 18-foot trailer. We literally, me and Justin have grabbed people's stuff, loaded it up, and took it to wherever they needed to go, man.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Real quick, everybody listening, because we probably going to jump off, and we only want to stay on for about an hour, so we're going to probably, just for respecting Josh's time, we appreciate him jumping on. So if you guys got any questions on Facebook, if you got any questions on Zoom, go ahead and throw in a chat real quick. We'll try to jump on a couple of questions if there are any, because we're going to jump off probably in the next 10 minutes. So if you got any questions on Zoom for Jacques, make sure you, Jacques, I want to make sure I'm saying your name right, bro. Is Jacques or is Jacques, right?
I usually go by Jacques.
Jacques. Okay, cool. Jacques. So if you got any questions for Jacques, make sure you put them in the chat box, and that's as well as on Facebook. Man, I respect you so much, bro. Just being your age, man, and you're so educated, man, and you know so much at an early age, man. I just wish I started at 21, 19. You said you started at 19 learning real estate, but I just wish I was that age, like Justin said earlier. So kudos to you, man, and keep it going, man. We do got one question just popped in from Tamara Burns. She said, how do you finance the deals? Are you talking about how he financed the subject to deals, or wholesaling deals is not really financing? I'm not sure how to answer that question. Can you clarify that a little bit, Tamara? Or do y'all understand what she mean by how do you finance the deals?
No, I'll probably need her to clarify that one.
Yeah, you may need to clarify that, Tamara, because when you say financing, financing to us means like bringing money to the table or getting a loan or something like that. But we're Saturday, just to let you know. She said pre-foreclosures. How do you finance pre-foreclosures?
Okay. So I would say, so when it comes to pre-foreclosures, especially when it comes to wholesale pre-foreclosures, some people always say, a good deal always sells itself. I always like to make sure before we had the funds to close, now we have the funds to close, like we can make it instantaneously, but before then, we always make sure that we had an end buyer already that likes that area and that we know could close quick. Just because, I don't like to make that promise to people, especially when their house is about to go to auction. I don't like to make that promise and not deliver on that. I definitely don't like to do that. So, but as far as financing the pre-foreclosures, we use private money right now.
Yeah, that's pretty much, either pretty much going to use your own cash. It's either you're going to use your own cash, private funds, or if you're going to assign a subject to, you're pretty much going to assign your interest over to the buyer, and the buyer is pretty much going to pay your fee, and he's going to take over the terms. So that's really the only ways you can either use your own money, private money, like Jacques said, or you're just going to sign your contract, and you're just going to make the fee, and then those terms, of course, get forwarded over to the buyer to take over. So hopefully, one of those three would be one of your strategies, Tamara. We just got a question from, I want to make sure I'm saying the name right, Ola Washina. I hope I said your name right. How to, well, I guess you were trying to say, how do you market for tenant buyers on a subject to deal?
Okay, so tenant buyers. Okay, so I'm guessing he's referring to lease option side of things. So pretty much how we do that. So once we have title to the property, I mean, that property's ours, right? So we can market in any way that we want to. So I have some really good relationships with some agents that will list the property for us. And I mean, if it's a lease option, we'll list it as a lease option on the MLS as well too. Zillow, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, because that house is yours once you buy it subject to. So you have every right to market it any which way that you want to. And so use places.
Yeah, that's definitely a strategy that's really good. It's a lot of MLS agents be having buyers for those tenant properties. Because the way
especially now.
On the MLS is the way you can put it on there.
Yeah. We can. I have some good agents. If you guys ever want to reach out to me that are they're very, very investor and wholesaler friendly, that will help with listing stuff like that as well too, especially when it comes to terms. So yeah, we list it on the MLS with the terms as well too. So if it's a certain amount down, and it's better now since the lenders are getting more tight in their restrictions at the same time. So when you have that kind of owner financing in place and they have that money down, then because I think what was that one bank that's you need a 700 credit score right now and that 20% down. I forget which bank. It's like one of the large lenders that's like, yeah, 700 credit, 700.
We got one more. We're gonna throw in one more question. It's coming from Tamara. She said, "What are the tax ramifications on subject-to deals? Do you get hit with not holding the property for 2 years?"
Yeah, it's still capital gains. From my understanding, it's still capital gains tax if you go to resell it within a 2-year period.
Yeah, it's still capital gains.
15% in Georgia. Yeah.
So you
should mean a 2-year, meaning like if you're owner where you don't have to pay the taxes if you're the actual owner. Is that what she meant by that question? Because I know sometimes like when you own a property for so many years, you're subject to not have to pay taxes because you're the owner. So I don't know if she mean, she said yes. So I guess she's trying to say like if you take over that property, do you get the same thing? I don't think so because you're taking over the mortgage, but the mortgage still stays. So you're not getting, from my knowledge, you're not getting credited for the mortgage because you're not on the mortgage. You're basically on the deed. So it really wouldn't be the same in that scenario because you fully don't own it until the actual property's paid off, and then everything kind of rolls into your name. But I don't think it serves the same purpose because that person actually got a mortgage and they're showing that they're owning the property. And them having to live in it a couple of years, I mean, I think they could show it better compared to, I think you said like, Jacques, it'd be capital gains because you're pretty much getting cash flow based on whatever you rent it for or whatever, that's capital gains. That's not, I don't think I guess what I'm trying to say is you're not necessarily the owner because you're not necessarily on the mortgage per se. So I don't think it serves the same purpose as I think what she's trying to say. And correct me if I'm wrong, brothers. Jacques, for what I'm saying is correct.
I know I got taxed on the subject to last year, and I got taxed with capital gains. I know I did get taxed with capital gains. So that's why I said to my understanding, because I did one and bought the house. That's why I said in that fixed flip. I bought it in March and I sold it in July, and pretty much I had made about, I know the exact check amount was $44,740, but I paid for rehab out of pocket, so I had to recoup that rehab as well too. I came like $25,000 out of pocket for the rehab, and so I know I got hit with capital gains tax.
And another thing, I think from my understanding, I could be wrong, I think that serves only for like sole people. Like if it's like you as a person, I don't think businesses get that same pleasure to be able to for that 2-year window span that I think she's speaking on. I don't think that's for most of us put LLCs and stuff like that for our subject-tos, or you might create a trust or something like that. But I don't think that it would serve the same purpose. I think that's only for I think that law is only for like homeowners, like an individual person who put it in their name, compared to like a company or something like
that. Yeah, I think it's all.
What I'm saying?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Hey, you don't know something, you just don't say nothing, huh?
Right.
But yeah, that's but what I would say is talk to a tax professional, somebody who you know, an accountant or somebody who you do your taxes with. They're better educated on how that works because they'll know how to prepare your taxes and know what would be considered capital gains and what wouldn't be. So I'm just kind of talking about top of my head, but you would definitely want to talk to a tax professional on a question like that.
Yeah, talk to a real estate friendly tax CPA.
Right.
Real estate friendly. And
right.
So I know everybody's go-to like, what's that? I don't forget. I think the guy's like, I think his name's like Roger, but if you go in the Facebook groups for the Atlanta REI and just ask for the good, yeah. But I know some, there's a couple in Atlanta. So there's a couple. Once you go to those Facebook groups and you ask for those good CPAs, and ask for the investor-friendly ones, they're gonna definitely be able to answer that question. Because at the end of the day, the only person you should be taking that advice from is a CPA, not me.
Well, cool, man. We at the end now, man. We definitely appreciate you joining us, man. Real quick, we want to just kind of brief everybody on Saturday. Tonight, we just wanted to kind of let you guys get to know Jacques, get to know Justin, so you guys can familiarize yourself with these brothers, man. They doing their thing. You know, we can call them friends and brothers of ours. We definitely respect and appreciate them and everything. So Saturday, they will be 2 of the 4 that will be actually panelists for our meetup for Saturday, our virtual meetup. And we're going to be specifically talking about wholesaling and also subject to and lease options, which we kind of touched on briefly tonight. I think Saturday I wanted to be more of a case study type of meetup to where, you know, maybe the guys can kind of, you know, discuss a deal that they maybe just currently or recently did, and they can kind of break down the numbers and, you know, like Jacques said, hey, you got to approach it a different kind of way. That conversation is different. How you approach it to a seller, how you present it offer is totally different, you know, and there are going to be questions, there's going to be objections. So you want to be able to answer any questions, because one thing you don't want to do is be trying to explain or giving that option. But when they start asking all these questions, because they will, you want to be able to, you know, handle the objections that come at you. So they look at you as the professional. That's when people want to do business with you, when they look at you as the professional and you know what you're talking about. So Saturday, we're going to jump into it. We're going to have Jacques on here. We're going to have Justin, his partner, who just left the call earlier. And we're also going to have Anthony Epps, and we're going to have Eddie Raymond. So all of these guys are, we consider experts when it comes to lease options, subject tos, and even wholesaling as well. So we're definitely grateful that they're going to be sharing with you guys how to do these type of these type of creative deals, because they are very creative and they have a lot of moving parts. So you want to make sure you get some clarity on how to do it. If you got a deal and you want to work with us and you want to partner with us and figure out how to do this wholesaling thing, or even figure out how to do subject tos or lease options, make sure you reach out to us, and that's REI Wholesalers are us at gmail.com. That's REI Wholesalers are us at gmail.com. If you want to follow us, make sure you follow our group page, Wholesalers are us, which is REI Wholesalers are us. We're on YouTube. We got a YouTube channel going on with all of our Monday night calls and our meetups from Saturdays. And the meetup again is Saturday from 11 to 2. That's this Saturday, May the 30th, from 11 to 2. So make sure you guys, if you guys have this same link, if you're on Zoom, if you got this link, you can use the same link to join us Saturday at 11. If you're on Facebook, if you need the link, just text Will and Tim to 82149. That's Will and Tim to 82149. It'll automatically send you the link for Saturday. Again, you can follow us. I'm on Instagram at Uncle Bill Buy Houses, Facebook, William Galloway. Tim, you can follow him at Who is Tim Harvey on Instagram, and Tim Harvey on Facebook. And Jacques, you want to tell people how to get in touch with you?
So I deleted Instagram recently, I'll be honest, but as far as Facebook, just go ahead and search up my name on Facebook. I'm accepting all the friend requests from this live as well too. Jacques Pierre, JCQUES PIERRE. But yeah, that's the best way to get in contact with me, is definitely through Facebook as well.
And how to follow Justin? You want to get his information out?
Yeah. Dang, what was Justin's Instagram, man? I do not remember. So definitely search up Justin.
Justin Shipp.
Yeah, Justin Shipp on Facebook, with 2 P's. I think his Instagram is I am Justin Shipp, if I remember correctly. Or
It's all good. Well, hey, man, appreciate you again, man, for taking this time. We definitely appreciate it. And we're so excited about Saturday, man. We think that this is one of those. Me and Tim was talking, man, like we're literally going to have a pen and pad ourselves and be writing down notes, and I'm a student of the game as well. And I love learning, especially from my peers. So I'm looking forward to it myself personally. And we'll see you guys Saturday from 11 to 2. So again, if you don't have the link, text Will and Tim to 82149 and we'll get it to you. You should be getting some more emails and seeing some more videos for the next couple of days up until Saturday, because we're definitely excited. And I believe we're going to have a host too. We're probably going to have Deanna hosting it. So shout out to Deanna, law clerk on command. So make sure you guys join us. We're going to have all-star cast, and it's going to go down. So make sure you guys there from 11 to 2 Saturday, May the 30th. So be blessed. We love all y'all. We'll see you guys Saturday, and y'all take care. Thanks, Jacques.
Thanks, Jacques.
All right, see you. Thank you, guys.
All right.
See you guys Saturday.
All right.
All right.